And Jedinak was there, he stood firm and didn't allow Paul Pogba to get in behind for the return pass. So there's going to be a lot of physical play here from Australia.
Aziz Behich comes forward down the left-hand side for Australia. Back in field to Trent Sainsbury. 36th cap for him, the man who plays in Switzerland with Grasshopper Zurich. Possession back once again and rolls it to the left to Behich. And Australia just trying to hold onto the ball around the halfway line, and from that location Sainsbury rolls it to the goalkeeper Ryan, and between three of them, Milligan, Sainsbury and Ryan, they just triangulate the passes, and I think they're trying to invite the French onto them a little bit here to then maybe create some space in around the back. Milligan gives it short into midfield to the bald-headed Moy. Back out to Aziz Behich on the left-hand side. This is the most sustained period of possession Australia have had in the game. 15 minutes played, 0-0 in the sunshine in Kazan. It's a very high lunchtime sun as well. The shadows from the players doesn't really stretch long. It's just a little imprint around their feet as Australia take a throw in quickly on the far side, but there's a heavy touch by Behich. That was unfortunate for him. There was a chance there to catch France cold. As it is, the second throw in is taken to Jedinak, and now on to Moy, and Australia holding on to possession here inside the French half. Behich gets it again. It's Mbappe who comes to try and close him down. He swivels and plays it on towards Robbie Cruz, and a foul is committed by Pavard, and Australia get another attacking free kick.
You know that they'll do that. The French will just sit in, they'll allow the Australian two centre-halves to have the ball, Milligan and Sainsbury, just to say to them, go on then, we'll pick a pass. What can you do to hurt us? They can't do anything. The French go into a 4-4-1-1, and they're saying to us, well, play rounders then, play rounders. Look at the big lads. Land of the Giants in there for the Australians.
Absolutely. Big men from down under await the free kick. Aaron Moy just brushes some sweat off his forehead. And again, this considered approach of the referee, where before every set piece he's almost separating everyone in the penalty area. He wants no pushing and shoving. Here comes the ball in. Oh, there's an attempted flick up by Leckie, and it almost goes in, and at the back post Sainsbury wasn't able to apply the touch. Lloris called into action. That's the most dangerous attempt from Australia so far. The centre half Sainsbury, it didn't quite come for him. I think a French defender got a flick on it in front of it. That could have been an own goal, you know. Corrington Tolisso almost put that into his own net, and Lloris had to scramble across and make the save.
I'm not sure if it was a French player or if it was Leckie. Leckie it was right on the front post. He got a flick on, and I'm sure that Sainsbury got a touch as well. The keeper made an unbelievable save.
Unbelievable stretch by Hugo Lloris to keep it out. On average, he's kept roughly a clean sheet every other international game in the past. This is his 99th cap. Moy swings in the corner. N'Golo Kante, probably the smallest man on the field, is the one who jumps and heads it away. And then when it bobbles on the edge of the D, there's a push on a French defender, and that will be a free kick to France. But that was an early scare for France. Sainsbury was stretching. Tolisso didn't know where his touch went. It could have gone anywhere. And not only did Lloris save it, he pushed it away from danger. Yeah. Anywhere else, Sainsbury would have followed up again.
Yeah, and you know what? That's what the Australians have got to do. Get quality into the box. Make sure the delivery is where it wants to go, where it should go, anywhere near your players. And I feel Australia have got a chance of maybe nicking a goal, a scruffy goal albeit, but they could get themselves a goal like that.
By the way, if you're an Australian sports fan, I have no idea what you're doing at the moment, because Australia are playing France here in the World Cup. Australia's rugby team are playing Ireland in rugby at the moment, and Jonathan Overend in Cardiff.
Yes, they're playing cricket here at Sophia Gardens. They're in the field after winning the toss, playing in light drizzle here in Cardiff at the moment, Connor. England have started solidly, 21 without loss. Johnny Bairstow in fire nick, 3 early boundaries for him. He's on 15. Jason Roy has 6. We're in the 5th over.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Commentary of the cricket available right now on 5 Live Sports Extra, our sister station. And mentioning that rugby down under, it's Australia 7, Ireland 7 in the early stages there. But here, Group C of the 2018 World Cup on the BBC. Day 3 already, Dion. It's flying. France 0, Australia 0.
It is flying, yes. And you know, our second game in, and the noise is good, the atmosphere is good. We've had an unbelievable first game with the Russia game, 5-0, which was superb. Love that. And this one is just going to be turning out to be the same. I can sense it.
Free kick to France while Australia were on the attack, and the Aussies aren't really happy about it. Corrington Tolisso went down 15 yards outside his own penalty area. Jedinak is over, giving it the come on mate, and the referee says it was a free kick. He was jumping with Jedinak. I can see why Jednak is sort of saying, it looks like he raises his arm, but then he pulls them down as he goes in. That's not an elbow.
No, there's nothing in that at all. They've both gone for the ball, a little bit of contact. I think you have to sometimes remind professional footballers that football is a contact sport.
Absolutely. France with possession inside their own half. If you're just tuning away on 5 Live Sport, maybe you're watching on TV and you've pressed the red button to choose the radio commentary. France had a flurry of early chances, plenty of shots, although pretty much straight at the goalkeeper. And then Australia have had their one big opportunity when Corentin Tolisso could have put it into his own net. Lloris saved it away and made sure that the defender Trent Sainsbury wasn't able to follow up. 0-0 it remains. There's Andrew Nabbout, the big striker who plays his club football in Japan, tries to get a little nibble on the ball up front, but he's not able to get possession. France will clear it away. Big clearance down the field as well. This is Moy. Aaron Moy, once of Manchester City, never made the breakthrough into the first team there, sent out a note to Huddersfield, who've now made that move permanent. Trent Sainsbury, right-footed, short into midfield to the man with the captain's armband on. Mile Jedinak. Had been plenty of suggestion that he might have been dropped for this game, but he's held on to his position as Aziz Behich comes forward down the left-hand side. He's got Robbie Cruz ahead of him. Australia hoping to get the Celtic player Tom Rogic into the game a little bit more. He's just hovering behind the central striker Nabbout. Here is Risdon on the right-hand side. Australia doing well to hold on to possession. Just as I say that, in nips Hernandez to win it back briefly for France, but then cheers from the Aussie fans as the team in goal get it back once more.
Yeah, they've got to be careful in possession, Australia, because when they do lose the ball, albeit in the middle third, they're leaving Mbappe up on his own with de Griezmann, and if they do get it back, they're going to be really struggling with the pace of those two players.
0-0. Australia in possession. Robbie Cruz back to Aaron Moy. Now on to Sainsbury just inside his own half. Plays it direct, right-footed. Umtiti will win those headers all day long outside his own penalty area. And it falls here for Dembele, who's lightning fast. Look at him go down the left wing. 30, 40 yards. Sainsbury comes across, tackles him to the ground. Well, I thought that was a shove. The referee has said fair challenge, and he said that was okay, and he's given it just a goal kick.
I don't know how he's got away with that. I don't know how Sainsbury, because he's on his way. He's gone. He's knocked it past him. Dembele is. I know. I can see Deschamps there. We're just looking at the replay there, and it says Deschamps there with his arms out, as if to say, "You can't be serious."
I thought that was going to be a yellow card. I thought that was absolute cynical. I am stuck. You were going no further. I'm bringing you down.
And he knew, Sainsbury's knew what he was going out there to do. He wasn't going out there to contest the ball. He was going out there to stop Dembele getting any further.
First chance though we've seen of the Barcelona player Ousmane Dembele running with the ball at his feet. I'll tell you what, he has got some gas as referee blows the whistle and play is brought to a halt inside the French half, and I think it's going to be a free kick to the French. I'm not quite sure what that is all about, but Deschamps was furious there that was not a free kick for Dembele. 0-0 here between France and Australia. We are midway through the first half already. Varane has possession, 10 yards outside the French half. France playing from right to left as we look down. The blue shirts, white shorts, blue socks, sort of slightly darker shade of blue than France often have for the big tournaments. I like the shirt though, and Australia beaming under the sunshine in their solid gold. And Umtiti gives it to Tolisso in the midfield, and he'll come over the halfway line. 11 men back behind the ball for Australia. Pavard up onto Griezmann. Griezmann has not had many touches in open plays, swung in the odd free kick and corner, and he gets absolutely nowhere there as he's a measly tackle and the ball goes out of play.
He hasn't been allowed to get the ball because the Australians are working so hard. As soon as they see the ball going into his feet, they make sure that he's not going to be able to turn, get comfortable on the ball.
Small bit of uncertainty there though back from Australia. Trent Sainsbury just scooped the ball in the air on the edge of his own penalty area, but it was well read by Matt Ryan, and the Brighton goalkeeper was able to make the save. Matt Ryan, who had a tricky World Cup 4 years ago. He made a few high-profile mistakes. He was a younger keeper then. He's now become a Premier League highly regarded keeper, and he could be under pressure here as the ball is played by France into the penalty area. Milligan was back defending, and he clears it away on the edge of his own 6-yard box. Robbie Cruz does well to hold on to possession under pressure on the left-hand side, and then Behich completes the clearance high up over the halfway line, but N'Golo Kante inevitably nips in and wins it back for France. And Tolisso's in a tight corner here, and he's under pressure from Rogic. Referee says a push by Rogic, free kick to France.
Yeah, a bit of frustration there. I think when the French get the ball and they keep it and they pass and they move and they look good and they look comfortable, the Australians can't afford to give free kicks away, albeit it's not in a dangerous area. But if you're going to have a mindset like that and you're making the same kind of mistake in your own final third, then that could be a danger. Just be patient, get players behind the ball, force the French to really do something special.
Here's a stat for you. The last 9 World Cups that France have been at, only twice have they managed to top their group. They can sometimes be slow starters at a World Cup and pick up pace as it goes into the knockout stages. As here Dembele plays it forward. Oh, that's a lovely little round-the-world move by Mbappe, but he couldn't quite get on the final touch of it. Had a chance here for a counter-attack by Australia, but try as he might, Nabout wasn't able to shrug off Pogba, and the ball goes out for a throw-in. Australia wanted to be an Aussie throw. The referee says it will be for France.
It just goes to show that the Australians are making sure that, you know, he was going no, or should I say the French are making sure that Nabout was going no further. Pogba on one side, Kante closing him down on the other side. He was going down a dark alley, which had Umtiti right at the end of it. So, you know, the Australians are not gambling at all. They're sitting behind and waiting and being patient, which is the right way to do it. And if they get any good free kicks, get it in the box. That's their biggest danger and their biggest way of getting a goal.
Remember, England's World Cup starts on Monday against Tunisia. We'll have full commentary here on 5 Live for the BBC. Tomorrow, Germany and Brazil get their World Cup campaigns underway. Today, this is the first of 4 matches. We're watching France-Australia here. It's 0-0 after 26 minutes. Later on, 2 o'clock UK time, it's Argentina against Iceland. Ian Dennis and Pat Nevin, your commentary team for that one. We'll have full commentary from 4 o'clock of the rugby. South Africa against England. And then we'll bring you second half Peru-Denmark with Ian Brown and Michael O'Neill. Croatia-Nigeria is the evening kickoff tonight.
You know what? To be here at the World Cup, absolutely amazing. You know, the stadiums are incredible. What I don't like about the stadiums is they sort of, because they're made so well and they look so pretty, none of the sun can get in. So we're always sat in the shade. I put a nice shirt on today, rolled the sleeves up, and I'm still in the shade. Not happy.
Dion loves a bit of vitamin D beaming down on top of him. We've got a very futuristic glass sort of roof over our heads. It's keeping us in the shade. It's blazing sunshine down there. A little bit cool here in the shadows, but what a privilege it is to be sitting high up over the halfway line watching this game as Australia win a free kick midway inside the French half, and another chance for Moy here to try and dig it in. Leckie was the player brought down by Pogba.
Yeah, just good strength from Leckie, making sure that he was in between the ball and Pogba. Pogba just reaching round, trying to get one of those long legs to poke the ball away. But no, gives a free kick away. Who's on it? Moy. Who's gone up? The 2 centre-halves.
Yeah, Moy prepares to swing it in. It's right-hand side of the field. He's in the shadows, in the cool there. His teammates out in the bright sunshine. France holding an offside line along the edge of the penalty area. Again, the referee, who's from Uruguay, is almost going around chaperoning everyone. It's like a teenage disco. He's telling the boys and girls to keep apart as he's making sure there is daylight between everyone. Here he comes. Moy into the penalty area. Out comes the goalkeeper. Lloris commands his box very well and gathers that into his chest.
Expect him to come and do that all day, Lloris. If the ball's not quite right, if it's not anywhere near where it should be, Lloris, as we well know, is very confident in coming out, taking the pressure off his team, calming it down, and allowing his team to get easy control possession.
N'Golo Kante back into the defence. France have it with the Barcelona centre-back Samuel Umtiti. Bright white boots as he plays it left foot and forward, and looking for Antoine Griezmann, who France haven't really got into the game so far. He controls it left-hand side near the corner flag. Hernandez comes, has a great thrust in the support from the left, and Trent Sainsbury inside his penalty area. He took a chance there, he slid in, but he wins the ball in the box, and he still now has the chance to clear it away. Hang on, oh, there's a problem, the ball's gone flat.
I think Sainsbury there, as he made the tackle, and then he tried to, I think it burst on impact. Let's have a look at this again. If they show it again, the ball actually burst on impact when they tackled. And unfortunately, he's given it back. And what Sainsbury did, he kicked it out and told the ref the ball's gone down. And I didn't think Griezmann was going to give it back anyway. He did. How bizarre.
Bit of sportsmanship for Antoine Griezmann, proper order.
You know what? I'm watching. There's a Mexican wave attempting to start in the stadium. I've got to say, it's the first time I've seen a Mexican wave go that way. Normally, I've never seen a Mexican wave go from left shoulder to right shoulder. Never ever.
Well, you've just reminded me. 4 years ago, I was doing a game with Pat Nevin. He made that point, and my quip. This does not apply now, obviously in Russia. My quip at the time was, It's the southern hemisphere. It's like the water going down the plug hole. In the southern hemisphere, it goes the other way. It's an anti-clockwise Mexican way of going around the stadium as Griezmann collects possession of the left-hand side. Deschamps is appealing and shouting something at the referee, but play continues. Neat header in the midfield by Tolisso, and Pogba will encourage Pavard to come over the halfway line now, and he's got a bit of pace on him as well. Support outside from Dembele, from Mbappe at the moment. Dembele's the central striker right now. That's a great run by Mbappe. He's almost into the penalty area. Moy tackles him, and it's taken away by Rogic.
Just maybe a little bit too elaborate there from Mbappe, just maybe taking too much time.
Now Griezmann stretches, controls, there's no flag. Griezmann tries to get onto it. Good defending by Mark Milligan. He needed to be alert. He puts it out for a throw.
You know, that's great defending from Milligan. If Griezmann gets on the long side, maybe could have got his shot off. Stayed strong, the big centre half. Milligan didn't dive in, and what a great bit of defending.
Pogba, a man who's been under such high scrutiny in his Manchester United career. Here he is playing for France, onto Tolisso midway inside the Australian half. Pavard again is up at right back, and he gets possession from Varane once again. There's a good darting run made by Kylian Mbappe out by the corner flag right hand side, and Behic will tackle him. France remain on the attack. They have a throw. France 0, Australia 0 on 5 Live from the BBC.
No, I think they've got to be careful. The French don't overplay in the final third. Keep the ball moving. They move the ball so quickly when they want to. They get into great positions, and when they get to the final third, they slightly over-elaborate. If they keep that passing going and they move quickly, do those little triangle passes, they'll get in behind this Australian side and they'll create more chances.
Don't forget, if you're watching this game on BBC television, you can click the red button and you can choose to listen to the 5 Live commentary. That applies to all games on BBC, live games on BBC television over the course of the World Cup. You can also do that feature on the BBC Sport website, along with all the text commentary and the various other bits and bobs that they produce for you on there. Here come France as Tolisso tried to roll it into the penalty area for Dembele. Good defending by Australia. Chance for an Australian counter-attack here. Lecky's got lots of pace and they get it to him on the right-hand side, but good defending by Lucas Hernandez, and then back into the midfield and Trent Sainsbury once again. So 0-0 here between France and Australia. Over half an hour played. Let's nip back to the cricket. England-Australia, second one-day international. Jonathan Overend.
In here, England 57 without loss, and we're in the 8th over. Bairstow is already on 38. Jason Roy playing second fiddle on 19. Kane Richardson went for 19 in 1 over a few minutes ago, including a brilliant 6 from Bairstow over long off. England 57 without loss. We're in the 8th.
So that's the score for Australia in the cricket. Here in the football, 0-0 against France. And in the rugby, Australia 7, Ireland 16. Here come France. Hernandez in the penalty area, drills it low across the edge of the 6-yard box and cleared away by Mark Milligan high up over his own crossbar. He had to be careful. That could have gone anywhere. France corner.
Yeah, if Milligan's not clearing that, that's going towards the far post. Either the keeper's going to get it, or there was a French player on the far post. It might even have been Pavard coming in there, could have tapped it in for a 1-0 start, but no. I think the ball's something wrong with the ball again here. Another ball coming on. Third ball now they've been using.
That's not a great advert for the ball manufacturers. We have another problem with the ball here in Kazan, but plenty of spares available, and France now ready to take this corner kick. Let's look back at stats. In recent World Cups, they scored a lot of goals from free kicks, France, but that from set pieces, I should say. Dembele's corner on this occasion is floated in too close to the goalkeeper. Matt Ryan makes the save. Ousmane Dembele, who has made quite an impact, first to Dortmund, then through to Barcelona. Remember, he scored that excellent goal for Barcelona against Chelsea in the Champions League this season. And here he is starting for France in their opening game of the World Cup. 0-0 at the moment against Australia. Pogba stretches in the centre circle, gets it back to Varane, and then high and hopeful forward and headed away by Josh Risdon. France looking to get it back again. They would have done, but Hernandez happy for it to go out and play, knowing it would be a French throw. Now, in other news, Andy Murray has confirmed he will play at Queen's in the tennis next week. That's breaking news on 5 Live Sport. More detail of that, I'm sure, coming up at half-time with Kelly Cates, who's in Red Square in Moscow. We've got 11 minutes remaining in this first half. Matthew Leckie plays the ball forward. He's looking for the centre forward, Andrew Naboud, who's not been brought into the game at all so far. Back to the goalkeeper, Lloris, who plays it out into the sunshine and into the space for Benjamin Pavard on the right-hand side. Naboud is getting support from Tom Rogic up front, but in terms of presence, but those two haven't combined with that many passes in this first half so far. Umtiti onto Luca Hernandez, the Atletico Madrid left back. Pogba gets a touch in midfield. N'Golo Kante. It's a French team that's just brimming with talent, but can they gel here on the big stage as Mbappe gets a touch? That's a neat ball back to Tolisso with plenty of room for Pavard on the right hand side. France need to get numbers into the penalty area if they're going to cross it from here. Tolisso back to Pavard. Mbappe's waiting patiently in the middle. Griezmann has come to join them, but France for the moment holding on to it in the midfield, and in fact they turn and give it all the way back to Varane. And now a change of direction. High swooping crossfield ball that's easily intercepted by Leckie, who cushioned headed it down to the goalkeeper Ryan.
That's you know what, it might be very boring to watch, but the Australians are just sitting in there making the French think, what can we do? How can we break this team down? Let's get them out, let's get them trying to squeeze us and pick them off, but it's patient, it's the way to go. And as Leckie headed that back, I thought to myself, let me just give Connor a stat. Let me get back to Connor with a stat here. The stat: Leckie, the header, the guy who cleared the header back to his keeper, he is the fastest player in the Bundesliga. Now, he wasn't as quick as me, but he's pretty quick.
Go on, how quick is he?
Well, you know, he clocked up miles. He clocked up 35k in one game.
Wow. There is a wicket in Cardiff. Jonathan Overend.
Johnny Bairstow is out for a quick fire 42, caught behind by Tim Payne, the Australian captain, off the bowling of Kane Richardson. So England are 63 for 1. It's been a good start, but Bairstow was really getting going and will be frustrated not to get to at least 50. We are in the 9th over. England 63 for 1.
France on the attack, but thwarted by an offside decision. And that is a free kick to Australia. 0-0 here with 10 minutes to go until the break. Dion Stat, Matthew Leckie, who plays with Hertha Berlin, ranked this season as the fastest player in the Bundesliga. But we're yet, every time he's got it, it's been ball to feet, defender behind him. How do Australia turn it around to get him facing the French goal?
You know, I don't think it's that kind of game where they can afford to allow him to get too far forward. You know, I said about the two fullbacks of France, they're going all the way. They are going all the way. Whereas, you know, you've got Leckie and you've got Cruz, they're not really going gung-ho. They're not going as far forward as the French, because they're wary of leaving the two centre-halves to mark Mbappe and Griezmann, which would be a hard job in itself, 2-on-2. So you've got to have to get back, make sure you've got a 3-on-2 or even a 4-on-2. Stay comfortable when you're out of possession.
France 0, Australia 0. 5 live from the BBC. You can listen to this game on the BBC Sport website as well if you're out and about. Possession for Australia as the ball is helped on there by Nabout out towards Risdon on the right hand side. Moy gathers it once more on the halfway line. Australia struggling to hold on to possession inside the French half. Pogba here nibbling away at the ankles of Nabout, but unable to knock him off the ball. Moy back to Sainsbury. Now the French press and Griezmann tries to pick a pocket, but the Aussies get it back to their goalkeeper Matt Ryan once again. This is Aziz Behich on the far side. First time ball, right footed, high for Varane, who just cushion nods it down to Pavard. Forward by France towards Dembele. Good strong defending by Milligan to make sure he doesn't get there, and then Trent Sainsbury with like a Gary Owen in rugby just pumps it high into the air up over the halfway line. There's a bit of head tennis, and at the end of all that it's nodded back to the goalkeeper Ryan once again. I think Australia be quite pleased with how this first half is panning out.
Well, it's gone exactly how they want it to go. They've kept the ball when they've had it. They haven't really unlocked that French defence as yet. They're being patient. They're having to work to get the ball back. They haven't had a lot of possession, but I think the game plan so far is to keep it at 0-0, get some free kicks in the final third, and let's see what happens.
Hernandez under pressure at left back. He just hesitated for a moment. Nabout came in and crunched into him, and that will be a free kick to France. Didier Deschamps up off his feet, gave a little French gesticulation, and then went and turned and sat down once again. If France were to win this World Cup, Didier Deschamps would become only the third person to win it as a player and a coach. Zagallo for Brazil did that. Of course, Beckenbauer did it for the Germans. Can Didier Deschamps join a very, very exclusive list of World Cup winners at both playing and managerial level? He's had a lot of time to tinker. He's had these 6 years in the job, and he's hoping he's got the balance right. He has gone for youth over experience, and here is Paul Pogba, still just 25 years of age. This is his 55th international cap. He sprays the ball high from right to left cross field, brings Luca Hernandez into things. Tolisso short to the diminutive N'Golo Kante. Back to Tolisso and into a bit of space now for Pogba, who turns and faces the Australian goal. That's a terrible pass. That was too fancy from Pogba. He should have just played it simple. He tried to do a little funny body shape as he played the ball, and it got nowhere near Pavard, and easily picked up by Australia, who regained possession in and around the halfway line. 5 minutes to the break, 0-0. Dion Dublin.
You know what, Conor? It wasn't fancy from Pogba. The fancy things that Pogba does, he does well. But when he went, it's the basics he's got to get right. That pass was 15 foot. Get it out to the right back, make him go on, make him get across him, but you've got to get the ball there in the first place. Concentration, get the basics right, because he's good at everything else.
There was, I don't know what it was, and maybe I've been unfair to him, I don't even see a replay, but there's something about his body language, not quite a look away pass, but he kind of just swung his hips. Yeah. Just that little bit of unnecessary flash. Just play it, just give it side-footed and get it out there.
A little bit of swagger, unnecessary. Just get your side-footed pass, get it out there, nice and firm, keep your team on the attack, but he tries to put a bit of spin on it all. It didn't work.
Yeah, a bit too much swagger is right.
He's better than that.
France 0, Australia 0, approaching half-time in Kazan. Still not a single cloud in the sky. Well, looking forward to getting out into that once the game is over. We'll have quite the afternoon in Kazan to tune into the other games, including Argentina against Iceland, which kicks off 2 o'clock UK time. Here is Trent Sainsbury at the back for Australia. The bright white boots with his golden Australia jersey. And he clears it straight down the centre of the field. Pavard with the header for France, neat and tidy from Dembele there. They keep rotating that front three. It's now Mbappe out on the left wing, Griezmann in the middle, Dembele on the right, but they've exchanged roles quite a lot in this first half as Griezmann tries to control on the edge of the D. Tolisso coming forward, he's challenged late, but the referee says it's fair from Rogic, and Australia are able to clear it away. This much vaunted, much celebrated front three, full of flair, full of pace for France, but so far they've been shackled by the Australian defenders.
You know what, that's just good organisation. The Australians are organised, they're rigid. The French look like they've got far superior quality in all departments. They're not being able to apply it at the moment, just through the way this Australian side has been set up, and they'll be really happy with this first half if it stays like this.
In the past, at World Cups, Australia have only ever had one win against a European team. They beat Serbia in 2010. Pavard here has picked out a run from Dembele, who tried to sell a little dummy on the far side, but not buying that was the defender Milligan. He stood up, he said, right, you can twist and turn all you want, I'm keeping my eyes on the ball. And Australia able to clear it away, and Umtiti helps it to Hugo Lloris away to our right hand side, who kept 16 clean sheets for Tottenham this season. He's captain France now more often than any other player, Hugo Lloris. They've had quite a few famous captains, the Platinis and Zidanes and Deschamps and all the rest of them down through the years, but Hugo Lloris has captained France more than anyone else. Here is Tolisso, still on his back. Rolls it to his right hand side to N'Golo Kante, back in field to Paul Pogba, little drag under the sides. Now he takes it ahead of Griezmann. It's a good ball from Pogba. Good defending by Sainsbury, because Griezmann was ready to pull the trigger there, and the defender made sure it didn't get through to him.
Yeah, really good defending, but they're still on the attack, the French. They keep coming.
Pavard outside of the right boot, digs it into the edge of the penalty area. Josh Risden is there to clear it away, and I think Australia will be happy to hear that half-time whistle. They're beginning to sit deeper and deeper. They're just clearing their lines, and France coming wave after wave. 90 seconds of normal time remaining in the first half.
Yeah, you know what, the two centre-halves are doing really well for Australia. Milligan and Sainsbury, they're making sure that Risden and Behic don't go too far. Stay close to us. Don't allow big gaps between the two centre-halves and the two full-backs. That's when Mbappe, that's when Griezmann come alive. Stay nice and tight as a four. They've done it really well in the first half.
0-0 here in Kazan on a very busy day for Australian sport in the Rugby Ireland League 16-14 down under. Commentary of the second one-day international in Cardiff, England against Australia right now on 5 Live Sports Extras. Across from the right-hand side by Dembele, as well gathered by Matt Ryan. And they're showing a lot of nous. They're showing that they're streetwise Australia. They are getting the simple things done right. And this, as the game goes on, is going to get more and more frustrating for the French as they try to figure out how they're going to break Australia down.
Yeah, it's difficult for them. It's going to be difficult for them because when they haven't got the ball, they're all getting behind the ball. When it goes forward, you've got Nabut on his own. and nobody gets close to him. The boot goes to close down the ball at Lloris. He's on his own, there's no point.
Rogic sends it to the far side, to the left back, Aziz Behic, who comes over the halfway line. He's got support from Jedinak inside him. Now Aaron Moy, a little bit of space inside the centre circle, a chance to turn and roll it to the feet of Celtic's Tom Rogic, a man who's often steps up on the big occasions for his club. He's played a lovely ball here, cross on the left hand side. Leckie tries to get onto it left-footed, comes back to Behic, he strikes it, and it's off target. He went for the far top corner, he couldn't get the bend on it, but it's a good chance for Australia in the closing stages of this first half.
Yeah, positive, very positive from the Australians. They couldn't clear it. The first one went into the box. The French couldn't get any distance on it, and it fell to the man that crossed it. He tried to just leave it in that top corner. It's not on his favoured foot, to be fair, so I think it was on his left foot. Might have been a different outcome, but they've done well, the Australians.
48 hours ago we were in Moscow, we saw a similar position to that. Cheryshov's second goal, he hit it, and again, naturally left-footed. Instead of walloping it right-footed, he had the wherewithal to just switch his feet. He gave it outside of the left boot, and it pings into the top corner. And those little moments of maturity, of thought, can sometimes be the difference between hitting the top corner and just blazing it wide.
And you know what, when the ball's coming towards you as well, the ball can sometimes make the decision for you. The ball was bouncing lovely for Cheryshev the other day, put it in the top corner. This one was a little bit more difficult. I'm making an excuse for him. He should have hit the target. He should have hit the target.
France 0, Australia 0. That's the voice of Dion Dublin, the man who certainly knew how to hit the target in his career. France, by the way, play Peru next. That's in Ekaterinburg on Thursday. We'll be there for that one for 5 Live. Their final group game for the French is against Denmark in Moscow next week. But that is the half-time whistle here in Kazan, and Australia are doing what they set out to do. They are containing the French, who've had a few half chances. I wouldn't say any more than that. The lower number of opportunities have been for Australia, but actually they've looked more dangerous with the chances they've had. Lloris had one enormous save to make. Dion.
Listen, the Australians, if they can keep doing this, if they can keep frustrating the French, they'll be happy with that. Get the ball down the left-hand side and the right-hand side. Try and force the French to defend crosses, get free kicks, get corners. That's how they're going to score. The French are looking comfortable.
Well, there's no goals, Kelly Cates, here in Kazan, but it's an intriguing game to watch. Come back to us for the second half. France 0, Australia 0.
I will do, Connor. I just wanted to have a quick word with Dion, because it's exactly what you were predicting was going to happen in this game in the first half. But it's one thing for Australia to say that's our game plan, that's how we're going to frustrate France, and it's another thing to do it as well as they are, to execute it properly, because they're not really giving France that much of an opportunity to get those really talented forwards into the game.
Not at all, Kelly. And you know what, it's okay doing it on the training pitch when you come to the World Cup, and you've got to do it on the world stage against one of the best teams in the world with some unbelievable, individual talent. They've done it to a T. The French have got to a certain point and they think, right, how do we get past these 10 yellow shirts? They haven't come up with the answer yet. But it's all about concentration, Kelly, when it comes to playing like this. For the Australians, they've got to concentrate non-stop all the way to the end to get anything at all from this game.
And that's why Matthew said on social media, this is a game that already has a game-changing contribution from Olivier Giroud written all over it. Oliver said, so many flicks and tricks from the French, but no end product so far. Phil, such a flagrant differential between the France team I'm seeing and the France team I'm told about by the media. I think what we were saying before the game is it's the players who have got the great reputation, but how they gel together is going to be crucial in this match. And Dave said Australia have grown into this game. French started on fire, but the Aussies are starting to look comfortable. Belief is there. They couldn't do it, could they, Dion?
Judging by the first half, there's no reason why they couldn't. I just think it's going to be either a mistake or a great bit of skill from the French that's going to get them in front. In regards to the Australians, if they can keep getting down the left-hand side, down the right-hand side, getting deflections that gives you a corner, and then you've got the big lads that come up, and anything can happen when the ball goes in the box. Kelly, you've seen me play. I scored lots of them off my shoulder, off the back of my head. That'll do me.
Dion, you're selling yourself short, but I think that just balances out that you massively having yourself in that first half commentary.
I love you too.
We'll be back with Dion and with Connor with the score at France 0, Australia. We'll be heading back to Kazan for the second half of that one. Meanwhile, let's head over to Sophia Gardens for the second ODI between England and Australia. Here's Jonathan Overend.
We're in the 12th over. It's been a decent start from England, 76 for 1. Johnny Bairstow really the star of the first hour, but he's gone. 42 he made before being caught behind by Tim Payne off the bowling of Kane Richardson. One amazing over from Richardson that Bairstow smacked him over long off for a 6, so much so it damaged the ball and they had to replace that. A little bit of a delay, didn't bother Bairstow. He hit 2 more boundaries in the over. But anyway, he's gone. Jason Roy is still there on 26, joined by Alex Hales on 8. Power play is over, so Australia pushing men back to the boundaries, and Alex Hales trying to cut Stoinis through the point region there, but it's well fielded. So England 76 for 1, and we're in the 12th over.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. We'll be hearing more from Sophia Garden throughout the day here on 5 Live Sport, and commentary is on Sports Extra right now. Now, Andy Murray will make his comeback from a hip injury at the Fever-Tree Championships at Queen's next week. He'll play competitively for the first time in almost a year, having come through a practice session in London yesterday. Our tennis correspondent Russell Fuller joins us. Russell, encouraging news ahead of Wimbledon.
At last, this seems to be the moment, Kelly, where Andy Murray will make his return. It'll be his first match since losing the Wimbledon quarter-final to Sam Querrey last July. It's not the first time we felt he was going to make his comeback, in that he tried to play in the US Open in New York last August and withdrew on the Saturday before the championships, and then again tried to play in Brisbane just before he ultimately had his hip surgery at the start of January, but realised the hip wasn't ready. He's had surgery since then. His rehabilitation started well, then he had a setback, and one thing I would say, even though it's great to see him on court, he's only been back on court practising for barely 2 weeks. Now that is a remarkably quick return to the tour. Normally players would want to spend a little bit longer making sure they'd build up their fitness again, but because it's the grass court season, and Murray obviously feels he's at least free of pain now, if not 100% fit, and with Wimbledon starting in 2 weeks' time, clearly Murray is desperately keen to get back on the grass and get back on a tennis court of any nature.
So if he's only been on the practice courts for a couple of weeks, what can we expect from him at Queen's?
We'll expect him to be very, very rusty indeed. We were watching him train yesterday at the Queen's Club, and of course he's not lost his ability to strike the ball beautifully and crisply, but his movement is not going to be what it was for a long, long time. We're talking months and months and months. Assuming the hip does stand up to the rigours of a return to the tour, it will take him a long, long time to be anywhere near the sort of level we've seen him at in other parts of his career. So I'd very much say to people, be patient, it's going to take a long time, and the draw for Queen's Club takes place in the next 10 or 15 minutes. There's about 14 players in the world's top 30 there. There's Novak Djokovic. There's players who are going to be incredibly difficult to beat on any surface over 3 sets or 5 sets. So Murray could get a very, very brutal first round draw.
Thank you very much, Russell Fuller. Coming up in just a couple of minutes' time, we'll get the very latest ahead of England's second test against South Africa in Bloemfontein. And, of course, we'll bring you the second half of France against Australia with a score currently at 0-0. That's coming up after the BBC News with Mike Young.
On digital, online, smartphone and tablet, this is BBC 5 Live.
Around 50 firefighters are continuing to deal with a major fire at Glasgow's School of Art. The Macintosh design building was being refurbished after another fire there 4 years ago. It's been gutted by the flames this time. There are no reports of casualties. A murder investigation is underway in Hull after a man's body was found in the Dane Park Road area of the city. The victim, said to be in his 50s, hasn't yet been named by police. The family of an epileptic 12-year-old boy at the centre of a dispute over whether he can use cannabis oil says he's now in a life-threatening condition in hospital in London. Billy Caldwell's mother sourced the drug from Canada, but it was confiscated at Heathrow. And Public Health England is to start including advice on preventing dementia as part of the NHS Health Check. The check-ups are offered free to people aged between 40 and 74 and currently focus on reducing the risks of heart disease.
This is BBC 5 Live on digital, smart speaker, smartphone and tablet.
And the motorway network not looking too bad across the UK today, but in Gloucestershire the M48 Severn Bridge westbound is shut right through this weekend for resurfacing work. That's between junctions 1 and 2. A diversion will take you via the M4. That's the second Severn crossing. Mike Young, 5 Live Travel.
5 Live Sports.
Hello, I'm Gary Lineker. Welcome to the
What is it? Available now. 5 Live's World Cup Daily Podcast.
We go to Mexico, we play a place called Monterrey. Around the side of the pitch, there was just a hedge. It wasn't even like a proper ground. I thought, this is the World Cup. It's a little bit different these days.
Download the World Cup Daily Podcast from your favourite podcast provider.
Well, it is finally here. I'm Mark Chapman in Moscow.
This is your World Cup station. This is 5 Live. Live from Russia, this is 5 Live Sport with Kelly Cates.
Hello, welcome back to Red Square in Moscow. We'll be heading back to Kazan very shortly for the second half of France against Australia. But an extraordinary day at the US Open. World number 1 Dustin Johnson leads. He shot a 3 under 67 to get to 4 under at Shinnecock Hills. A triple bogey 7 followed by a bogey at the last meant that Ian Poulter dropped to 1 over with Justin Rose and Tommy Fleetwood. Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy and Jordan Spieth all missed the 8 over cut. We'll hear from our golf team in New York before 1:30, and we'll have live commentary of day 3 tonight on Sports Extra from 9 o'clock. Just after 4 o'clock here on 5 Live Sport, we've got live commentary of England's second test against South Africa, and Chris Jones is in Bloemfontein.
So we've moved up from the serene coastline of Natal, the gorgeous setting of the Umhlanga Rocks just outside Durban, and now we're in the unforgiving lands of the Free State, this sort of chill in the air. It's Afrikaans territory, it's at altitude, and talking about unforgiving, it's a game England have to win. Alex Spink, correspondent of the Daily Mirror, is with me. Alex, England seemed in good spirits this week down in Durban, but they might get a rude awakening up here in a match that it's a non-negotiable, it's must win.
Yeah, they're very focused. Owen Farrell's done a pretty good job as far as most of us can see in terms of concentrating minds, getting them tight, and getting them focused on what they have to do, which is being decisive rather than the indecision that we saw so much of last week at Ellis Park. Massive game, this one for England. Forget about the World Cup, forget about everything else. This is a series against South Africa. In its own right, it's a massive occasion. England have got to get it right. If they don't get it right, it means that they've lost 5 tests in a row. It means that they go into the autumn in a dreadful state. They desperately need to prove to Eddie Jones that they can get it right, because if they don't, everything that he says and everything that the people around the squad say, all the bullish talk, counts for nothing.
You mentioned Eddie Jones, Alex. Look, his brief is to win that World Cup in 2019. That's why he's the England head coach. But this run of form, it's concerning, it's potentially even alarming. If England do lose today, and it's a big if, because they can certainly go and win. They played well enough at times at Ellis Park to show they can win. But if they lose, do we have to start asking serious questions about where England are going under Jones at the moment? Is this the biggest game of his time in charge?
Yeah, there's no question. This is the biggest game of his tenure. I think we do ask those questions. I think those questions have already been asked. I'm not suggesting that he's going to lose his job, but you know they need to. It's all well and good talking about going to South Africa and winning the series 3-0, and in his first 2 years, his powers of persuasion had an unbelievable galvanising effect on a team which had really struggled coming out of the World Cup. But the words are no longer carrying that sort of clout.
Live commentary of this massive game just after 4 o'clock on 5 Live.
England against South Africa then coming up at half-time between Australia and Ireland. It's Australia 14, Ireland 16. That one an 11 o'clock kick-off. Earlier, New Zealand beat France by 26 points to 13. Now coming up from 2 o'clock on 5 Live Sport, it's the opening match in Group D, and it is Argentina against Iceland, the first appearance at this tournament of Lionel Messi. Our South American football correspondent Tim Vickery will be part of our build-up. Tim, what are the expectations around Argentina in Argentina?
Well, they qualified with such difficulty that all of the expectations are heaped on Lionel Messi. Now, I know the world's media is going into overdrive about what Cristiano Ronaldo did. Can Messi match it? Well, I think Messi is far too concerned and has far too many other worries on his plate, whether he can carry what has been a very disjointed and ordinary Argentina side over the line, rather than worrying about competing with Cristiano Ronaldo.
But what about the expectation of being that person who can carry this team over the line? Obviously the comparisons are there with Diego Maradona, but this is not the Argentina side that Maradona captained, is it?
No, and Maradona had in '86, he had a very organised side who were difficult to play against. The problem that Argentina have had recently is that they've been very easy to play against. They've been letting in goals. 6 let in against Spain in a friendly at the end of March. 4 against Nigeria, who they'll be playing in the group in a friendly in November. We will see over the next few weeks if the coach has been able to sort that defence out. But at the moment, going into this game against Iceland, we really don't know what Argentina are going to come up with. We've hardly seen them. They played one warm-up friendly against a very weak Haiti side, so it's a little bit like an extended version of Stingray. Anything can happen in the next 90 minutes.
Aquamarina and all that. But as far as Messi is concerned, I mean, you say that he's going to be more concerned with what happens to Argentina and whether or not he can lead them throughout this tournament. But presumably the expectation will be that he can beat Cristiano Ronaldo's performances, that he is in competition with him from a fan perspective.
Well, perhaps, and Cristiano Ronaldo has always been motivated by that, and that motivation to win personal triumphs is one of the reasons that he is such a great player. Messi doesn't seem to be as motivated by individual triumphs. He wants to win well as part of a collective, and his problem over recent years is that collective from Argentina hasn't been particularly good. I think the good news for Argentina is that he's going to be fitter and fresher than he was 4 years ago, when he really had to play in bursts, and he wandered around the centre circle in a number of games for Argentina with his head bowed almost as if he dropped his wedding ring. It was clear during the World Cup in Brazil that he could only play in bursts. The hope this time is that he is fitter and fresher and able to apply himself and control the game for 90 minutes.
And obviously there's an age issue with Argentina. I think there's a load of those key players between 29, 31 years of age. It could be their last chance to perform in a World Cup. But are we going to see them? Because it's not just about Messi this side. Are we going to see them come to the fore in this tournament?
Well, if Messi, Aguero and Di Maria can fire together, then look out. Argentina could put in a challenge, but there's a lot of aging limbs at the other end of the field as well, and that defence has a tendency to collapse like an old man into a deck chair. So we will see who comes up strongest, the veterans in Argentina's attack or some of the aging limbs in Argentina's defence.
Well, Tim, we'll leave you to collapse into a deck chair, not as an ageing man, but just as a man of youthful outlook. You've got an hour till we hear from you again. Tim is back at 1 o'clock. Full commentary of Argentina against Iceland from 2. After the rugby, we'll bring you second half commentary of Peru versus Denmark, and then from 8 o'clock there's full commentary of Nigeria against Croatia. Now in Kazan, it is France 0, Australia 0. Australia managing to hold out one of the early tournament favourites so far in this game. You can listen to 5 Live's commentary and watch the pictures on BBC One at the same time if you press your red button. Let's rejoin our commentary team, Dion Dudban and Conor McNamara.
And we are about to get back underway here for the second half. No changes in personnel over half time, and France this time playing with the sun in their eyes now for the second half. Get us back underway. So the French team with Lloris in goal, the Tottenham keeper and French captain. Pavard is the right back, Varane and Umtiti at the centre, Luca Hernandez at left back, Tolisso, Kante and Pogba in midfield, Dembele, Mbappe and Griezmann up front. For Australia, Matt Ryan, the Brighton goalkeeper, plays behind a back four of Risden, Sainsbury, Milligan and Behic, with Jedinak and Moy as holding midfielders, Leckie right hand side, Cruz left, Rogic behind Nabout. 0-0 from that first half. Can France make the breakthrough in this second period, or could Australia really put the cat amongst the pigeons, nick a goal of their own and maybe even sit deeper and frustrate the French?
I reckon there could be a cat around the corner, Colin. You never know, mate. Those pigeons could be all over the place. If they stay rigid, if they concentrate, you just never know.
So France, just as Pogba was about to try a shot from distance, the whistle was blown from the referee, and that will bring them back. And a free kick for Australia. Matt Ryan did very well in the Premier League this season. With Brighton, he'll just step outside his box to take the free kick. As we look at a picture of our screens of the French bench, and boy, they've got a lot of quality down there as well. I mean, Thomas Lemar, who at Atletico Madrid have just played a fortune for, Olivier Giroud, who's got a very good international record, the Chelsea striker. They've got players like Blaise Matuidi of Juventus, and Nabil Fekir, who's had that sort of on-off move to Liverpool, being talked about so much this summer. They've got Florian Thauvin, once of Newcastle, where he didn't make an impact, but he's been brilliant for Marseille this season. So there is a lot of quality available for Deschamps should he feel he requires something a bit different now.
You know, he'll be thinking to himself, this 15 minutes, let's see how it goes. Can we apply pressure? And then he'll start looking over his shoulder. He'll be looking to himself, right, who's going to make the biggest impact? I'm pretty sure that Giroud's going to be one of those players who'll get a bit of time on the pitch today.
Some early stages in the second half. N'Golo Kante gives it on to Paul Pogba, 15 yards outside the Australia penalty area. Tolisso helps it on to the right back, Pavard. Trying to get close to him. Aziz Behic manages to turn Pavard away from the penalty area. Tolisso into N'Golo Kante. There's a good turn from Kante. Now he helps it on. Little drag back from Pogba to try and create space for himself. He's just outside the penalty area. Hernandez at left back is up, sends it across, headed away by Mark Milligan, and he got good distance on it as well. And Australia get it well away from their own penalty area, and now they win a free kick.
Yeah, never. The ball just came out of the Australians' box, headed it away, went up to Nabut, who tried to hold on to Umtiti, the big centre-half, got close to him, nudged him under the ball. I don't think it was a free kick at all, looking at it again. Well, the referee gives on Australia a free kick and the pressure's off for a few seconds.
Olivier Giroud, who's wearing a bright white bandage wrapped around his forehead and around the back of his head. He's down amongst the substitutes, thinking about going for a warm-up jog for France, as this time the free kick is given by a foul from Lecky on Hernandez, and that will be a free kick to France and a chance for them to clear their lines on the far hand side of the pitch. Spectators coming back for the half-time refreshments, taking their seats. I know there was issues with the Egypt game yesterday, and there wasn't quite a full house. It's not 100% full here, but it's 95% full. It's a good crowd in Kazan. As we nick back to Cardiff for the latest of the cricket from Jonathan O'Brien.
100 up for England, 101 for one, brought up by a beautiful cover drive from Jason Roy, who's 38 not out. Alex Hales with him, 21. Bairstow the man to go for 42. We're in the 17th over. England 101 for one.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. By the way, the reason Giroud's got that bandage around his head, he had a clash of heads in the warm-up game against the USA last weekend. He had a 6-centimetre cut into his head, so they have quite literally patched him up to have him available to start this game here in Kazan on the French opener, or to be involved in this game. He doesn't start it, he is on the bench. Hernandez plays the ball forward to Mbappe. Mbappe is now back out on the left wing for France. Griezmann a more central location. Dembele playing on the right hand side. Those front three who keep interchanging, keep trying to wriggle and find a little bit of room, but Australia not allowing them any room so far. 0-0 in the second half.
It's just hard work, Connor. It's just hard work. The manager would have said, listen, you've done great, you're 0-0 against the French, one of the tournament's favourites, and we're 0-0 45 minutes in. It is a really good, strong, determined performance so far. The only way, like I said before, it's going to be a bit of skill. One of these French superstars going to do something special. If they can keep defending as they are, the Australians, they might be okay.
Pogba to Hernandez, who were quiet treatment a moment ago, and he looked a bit sluggish there as he collected possession. Australia will clear it away. Ball over the top. Cruz is going to try and run after this, but Pavard had a head start on him, and he helps it back to Hugo Lloris just on the edge of the French penalty area. Lloris low along the ground to Samuel Umtiti, the Barcelona defender. Sells a little dummy to Andrew Nabut, swivels around and gives it short to N'Golo Kante, midway inside the French half now, into the centre circle to Bayern Munich's Corentin Tolisso, onto Barcelona's Ousmane Dembele, who turns around Aaron Moy, 10 yards outside the penalty area. It's a good ball. Oh, Hernandez, it looked as if the defender Resden was going to head it away, and I think Hernandez checked his run. The header was missed. Hernandez might have been onto that, and he continued the thrust.
Got away with that one because I thought Risden thought he could reach it. There was a great ball in to the marauding fullback who would have got onto it. The ball was okay, he would have got it, he would have controlled it, but Risden just pulled his leg away. He sort of half dummied it, and it sort of put him off, so he's done well there.
This World Cup, they're making the substitutes warm up behind the goal, sort of between the advertising boards and the crowd. A big group of French substitutes have gone to warm up together. They've got these purple bibs on. They look like they're taking part in an aerobics class or something like that. They're all in unison, hopping up and down away to the left of our vision as we look down onto the pitch here at Kazan. Beautiful weather, sunshine and blue skies. The shadows slowly creeping across the pitch as the sun moves. And France helped the ball back to Hugo Lloris, the goalkeeper who, if you weren't with us in the first half, made one very good save to make sure that Tolisso didn't score an own goal, as Moy tries to control with an out-swung left boot, and he's helped out in there by Lecky, and the ball goes out of play, and that will be a throw into Australia, bang on the halfway line. Robbie Cruz takes it quickly into Moy. Behic back to Mark Milligan, who, like Tim Cahill, is in a World Cup squad for the 4th time, but he's been mostly a substitute. He's only played in one World Cup match before. He is in from the start here at the beginning of this tournament, and Tim Cahill, might he come on? to play a big role in this game. Remember, hoping to score, not just play, but to score in a 4th different World Cup. What a career he's had, Tim Cahill. Here comes Matthew Leckie down the right-hand side. Hernandez sticking to him like glue. Leckie, though, has got Risdon in support. Swings it across, it's a chance. Oh, they just couldn't turn it in. Nabout, for a moment, looked to be onto it around the penalty spot. And France get it away.
Just didn't commit enough men forward. That's a really good chance for the Aussies. A really good chance. The ball was good. See, when you're running in the box, everybody runs into the 6-yard box. He pulls it back, and there's no other player there at all. All the players have committed for that really difficult ball to defend against, which goes in that place we call the corridor of uncertainty. It was just behind that. No support play. That was a really good chance for the Australians.
Varane did very well there, holding off Nabout and then calmly swivelling and passing the ball clear. 0-0 in Kazan. France 0, Australia 0. On 5 Live for the BBC at the 2018 World Cup as Mark Milligan puts the ball out of play. It's a France throw and they're keen to get on with it. Benjamin Pavard has come up from right back, throws it down to Tolisso, back out to Pavard. They're trying to play another 1-2 between the two of them, and the referee blows the whistle for a foul on Robbie Cruz, and that will be a free kick to Australia and a chance for them to clear their lines. 53 minutes in, Didier Deschamps would have hoped to be in front by now.
Yes, and they've had half chances. The French, they could have done things better. They could have done things a little bit quicker. But I've been impressed with the 4 midfield players for Australia. Jedinak and Moy, very disciplined. Leckie and Cruz really getting through the kilometres up and down the left and right side of the pitch, really helping their team out.
N'Golo Kante with a beautiful little manoeuvre there to get away from Aaron Moy, and he releases Pogba, and Griezmann could be in here. Antoine Griezmann goes down to the penalty area. The referee waits and waits, and I'm sure there's going to be all kinds of VAR viewings of this going on in the background. It's no penalty, not initially anyway, as Griezmann went down, but we are getting confirmation in our commentary box that the VAR referee is looking for a potential penalty there. Griezmann was in, he had a touch. Dion, my gut decision there was that his touch was too heavy, and he was waiting, and I don't think he would have got onto it, but then is he fouled? We're going to see a replay here.
I think it's a great tackle. I think it's an absolutely bang-on tackle. I think it's by Sainsbury. Just gets his toe there. I think Sainsbury actually kicks the ball onto Griezmann. I think he gets there a millisecond first.
Right, now we have a bit of drama here because the referee is coming off the field of play to look at his little VAR screen down on the halfway line. Josh Risdon was the defender. The referee is looking at it, so what this means is that the VAR team, who are there dressed in their shorts and socks as if they were referees on the pitch, they're sitting in a studio in Moscow, and they have decided that that challenge is worth a look from the referee as Griezmann went down in the box. Right, the defender stretches. He doesn't get the ball.
He does get the ball,
It's
yes.
a tight one.
That's a I think that's a great tackle from Sainsbury. He's had to commit himself. We're looking at a screen here right in front of us from our commentary position.
Just to let you know, the crowd here can see who's given the penalty. He's given the penalty. The crowd in the stadium were able to watch that penalty review, to see the replays, to watch the referee looking at his little screen, and this is a bit of VAR drama that we kind of knew was going to happen in the World Cup. My initial reaction in real time was not a penalty. Having seen the replays, Dion, I see why they've given it. It's more convincing in slow motion. A penalty has been awarded by VAR. Antoine Griezmann fouled in the box by Josh Risdon, and it's a penalty to France.
I can't see, even I've watched it now, we've got the screen here, I really can't see where the contact has been made in order for Griezmann to go over. Still can't see it, still don't know why the referees give a penalty. Having watched it 3 or 4 times.
As well, by the way, Risdon's booked for the challenge.
I think that's harsh on the Australians, I really do.
So, just short of the hour mark and a potential changing point in the game. Antoine Griezmann is standing around the penalty spot and he places the ball any moment now. Matt Ryan, the Australian goalkeeper. Griezmann, the Golden Boot winner at Euro 2016. Can he get his tally underway, or can Matt Ryan make himself an Australian hero? This is 5 Live from the BBC in Kazan. France 0, Australia 0, but a controversial penalty Griezmann fouled, and now Antoine Griezmann with the chance to get the opening goal of the game. Here he comes, the whistle from the referee, the short run up, the goal! Matt Ryan didn't move. He stood as if he was expecting a little Panenka. It was drilled beyond him. It's France 1, Australia 0, but we haven't heard the last of this.
No, not at all. I still want to see it again. I'm still not convinced it was a penalty, but it's gone in. They've taken it. Griezmann's pinged it in the back of the net. As you said, the keeper didn't move. He was expecting something elaborate, should I say. The French there, after Griezmann have taken the penalty, scored the penalty, they all actually went towards Griezmann and went into a huddle again. Went into a huddle, had a chat. What they said, I've no idea, but they look as though they mean business.
The one thing I'm going to say, and people now are going to go, oh, VAR and it's a mess and all the rest of it. Surely it is better that, rather than a referee just made his decision in the heat of the moment from 20 yards away, they now have had several officials look at this in Moscow. They've had the match referee, Andreas Cura from Uruguay, look at it again here in the stadium. And after all those subsequent views and angles, they're then making this. Now, you could disagree with them, but at least they are making a very informed decision rather than the olden days where it's a snapshot from the only position they're in. As here comes Mbappe for France into the penalty area again. He's trying to come around the defender. There's a dummy in there by Dembele. Griezmann, chance to shoot again, but he can't get a clean shot in. And Australia are mightily relieved that Matt Ryan makes the save.
Yeah, in regards to VAR, you're correct. They're looking at it. They're all there in their kit. Have they got their boots on? Have they got their pads on? Have they got their tie-ups on as well? Have they actually put some DP on their legs while they're watching the replays? I certainly hope not. But the French, the tails are up. They're going for it. They look confident now, really confident.
Yeah, producer here just showing us a Twitter stream that showed that I think the consensus from the watching public is that should not have been a penalty. I haven't heard anyone yet say, yeah, that is bang on the right decision. Look, my view is I can see why they've given it, but in real time, it looked like the defender had got a touch, and I think that's the key thing. If he hasn't got a touch, it's a penalty. If he does get a touch, you can see why not. But either way, Griezmann has scored. France are up and running. France 1, Australia 0.
Yeah, and if you're going off possession stats, then the French deserve to be up, but the Australians, I think, I would need to see it a lot more, but I think they are unlucky to be a goal behind. The quality of the French has always got to rise to the top, but the Australians here have got a free kick in a dangerous position.
Griezmann, who had his much vaunted social media video, La Decision. Well, I'll tell you what, La Decision went his way there, and the penalty awarded by the VAR. Griezmann fouled, Griezmann scored. France lead in the World Cup in Kazan. And Australia have worked so hard, it's still got a half an hour to try and get back on level terms. Here comes the free kick. Moy, right-footed into the box. Umtiti missed it. Oh, Jedinak. Well, they're appealing now. There was a handball. Oh, he's pointed to the spot. It's another penalty. Penalty to Australia. And high drama here. How much, Dion Dublin, is that something in the back of the referee's head, thinking, oh, I don't know about the other penalty. I don't know, do I need to level it up a little bit here? It's almost like he wanted the opportunity. It's a penalty to Australia.
I really think that these poor French defending, all the defenders are in the wrong half. The ball from Moy was excellent into that area. And I'm looking at the replay here. I can't see any touch on any hand of any French player.
I'm just wondering, why doesn't the VAR come in now and say, hang on, we've looked at this and I don't see the handball?
But the convincing body language of the Australians, about 5 or 6 players went towards the referee, arms up saying penalty, and they've got it, and Jedinak's put the ball down.
So, no VAR this time, but the penalty given, and Mila Jedinak of Aston Villa with a chance to put Australia back on level terms. The referee has just run right in front of Jedinak, between him and the ball. That's not going to help. Here he comes. Jedinak scores! Sends the goalkeeper the wrong way, and the in excess of 10,000 Australian fans in the stadium go absolutely crazy. Australia got it to have given away the opening goal, are now right back level, and we've got a game in our hands here. France 1, Australia 1.
You know what, they deserve that, fully deserved, just through energy, organisation, concentration. I think they've been hard done by getting a penalty against them. They get a penalty themselves. I couldn't see where the hand, oh, there's the hand, I'm just looking at it back. It was Umtiti. I'm pretty sure it's Umtiti. He was the first defender going towards his goal. He puts his arm in the air and he deviates the ball. That's why the Australians were so convinced it was a penalty. They deserve to be 1-1.
Right, well, if he has handled the ball there, what is he doing? I mean, that's Diego Maradona. You're not going to get away with that. Absolutely ridiculous.
I have no idea. We're very lucky here in the commentary position. We've got two TVs and we've just seen a big picture of just Umtiti on the screen screaming into the sky as if to say, why did I do that?
There were 4 minutes between the goals. Griezmann put France 1 up. Jedinak has made it 1-1. It's all kicking off here. Let's nip to Cardiff quickly. Jonathan Overend.
And just moments before that Australia equaliser with you, a second Australian wicket here in the one-dayer. England 117 for 2. Alex Hales, the latest man out, bowled through the gate by Jai Richardson for 26. Roy has 45. Route 4, England 117 for 2. We're in the 18th.
And in the rugby, Australia still trail Ireland down under 16 points to 14. But here, I'll tell you what, it is livened up. Talking points left, right and centre, 1-1. And Australia about to make a change, and they're bringing on a new man up front, and Tommy Juric will come on, who plays his club football with Luzern in Switzerland, and he takes the place of Andrew Nabbout, the young, inexperienced striker, who you've got to say hasn't made much of an impact in the game, and now they've got Juric to come on in his place.
35 caps, he knows the game, he's been here before, he's effective. Get him on the pitch, let's see what they can do. So listen, I think it's a positive move. They know that they really want to go for this now. They know that they can score goals. They know that they can make the defence of the French uncomfortable, get the ball in the box. He's a big old unit, as we say in England. He's a big old unit. Get the ball in the box to him.
1-1 it is. Still a long way to go. Just can't take your eyes off this. Griezmann plays it forward for France. Cut out by the defender Mark Milligan, neat and tidy into midfield to Behic. Milligan gets it back again, halfway line. That's just such an instant bounce as they were feeling low, as their mood is plummeting. Bang, that penalty, and suddenly the Aussies are back on their feet and feeling good about it again.
You know what, if the game goes 10 minutes, 15 minutes at 1-1 to the French, then they become more and more buoyant, they become more and more confident, but the Australians have stuck at it. They really have grit and determination.
Still 25 minutes to play. 5 Live for the BBC. Australia 1-0 down, but back to 1-1. Griezmann with a penalty for France. Jedinak with a penalty for Australia, and who knows where this game is going to go now.
And you know what? I'm looking around the stadium and I can see there's 4 or 5 pockets of 2, 3, 4,000 yellow shirts, and they're all bouncing among the still supporters of the French. You can see these pockets of yellow shirts really enjoying themselves over in the sun opposite us, waving their scarves above their head. They're absolutely loving it. And you know what, Connor? I think they're actually believing as well.
Yeah, all the cliched tunes were coming out before the game, the waltzing Matilda and I come from a land down under, and the whole lot was being belted out, and the Aussie fans who are thoroughly enjoying themselves. And they would have taken this before the game. If they were told with 65 minutes played it would be 1-1, I'm sure every Aussie fan here would have taken that in Kazan. Free kick right up against the touchline for a foul on Robbie Cruz, and that is a free kick to Australia. And their coach, Bert van Marwijk, who is in charge of a competitive game for the first time in charge of Australia. He looks on approvingly at what's going on here. So, free kick taken by the defender Milligan. Umtiti, stooping header on the edge of his own penalty area, is not very convincing there. Australia collect possession. Behic has it, crossing position on the left-hand side. He's got Juric waiting in the centre. He's got Cruz with him closer. This is Aaron Moy in a more central midfield location. Good turn by Behic. Now to Cruz. Back to Behic. They're in here. If he can cross it, an excellent recovery. Good tackle, Benjamin Pavard. France needed that. It goes out for a throw. Australia remain on the attack. 1-1.
Yeah, some really, really good play down the left-hand side by the Australians, trying to get them in. Cruz trying to put him back in again. Leckie trying to get in there, just couldn't get his cross in. Good defending by the French, but the Australians are coming wave after wave trying to get this second goal.
Leckie stretching for the ball, challenged by Hernandez. Hernandez comes in for another nibble, and Leckie's forced into his own half, but it's a weak back pass, and Mbappe was almost onto it, and Ryan, the goalkeeper, had to come nearly 20 yards outside his penalty area there, and he got there a fraction of a second ahead of Mbappe. and that was a hearts in mouths moment for Australia. They get away with it.
Yeah, they do. I actually thought that Mbappe was going to get on the end of that one. Short back pass, but Ryan's starting position was absolutely bang on. As we see many times now, when your team's in possession, the goalkeeper's more or less in the D on the edge of the box, ready for anything that's coming through.
Here come France. Varane, the Real Madrid central defender, out from the back through Stuttgart's Pavard. Varane continued his run, but out came Martin Milligan to put it out for a French throw, and they get on with it quickly. There is all sorts of movement down on the French bench. They're about to make a couple of changes. Giroud, it would appear, is coming on, certainly. As Australia clear it away, bangs it out, and here comes Olivier Giroud with that very obvious white strapping around his head. And it's going to be a double change as well. Giroud will come on, and so too Nabil Fekir, the man who's been linked with that move to Liverpool, which seemed to be certainly on and seems to have cooled a little bit again. But double change, and you can see what Deschamps is thinking here. They need there's nothing wrong with the players who are up front, but they need something different now.
Yeah, they'll have to find another way of breaking down this Australian defence, because at the moment, at times they're going into a 5, making it really difficult, saying to the French, listen, if you want to score, you're going to have to go down the sides of us, because we're making the centre of the pitch very tight. You'll have to beat us with some great skill, or you'll have to cross it in the box where we feel comfortable, and that's exactly what they're doing now.
Pavard has it on the right hand side, rolls it in front of Dembele. Dembele crosses from the byline, and a diving header away by Milligan, and he needed to get to that. Here's Umtiti, steadies himself, shoots, and blocked away by Jedinak. Umtiti, who would love to make amends for that penalty he gave away for the Australian equaliser. That was speculative, it was a long way out, and it's crashed away by the defender.
Yeah, he was trying to strike a ball from about 30 yards. He can strike the ball, by the way, with his left foot. Hit Jedinak, and it's one of those that hits you right in the chest, and you think to yourself, right, that hurt. Shall I rub it now or rub it in a minute? I'm not too sure. Do I want to show that it hurt? And he's just doing a few stretches.
Right, France have given the ball away cheaply. Unforced error. Hernandez passed too far in front of Griezmann. And so the two Atletico Madrid players failing to combine, and with the break in play, here comes the double change. And look at this, it's Griezmann who's been taken off for France. Olivier Giroud will come on in place of Griezmann, and we'll find out in just a moment. It's going to be Dembele. Dembele will make way for Nabil Fekir. So having started with Dembele, Mbappe and Griezmann, it's now Fekir, Mbappe and Giroud.
Well, for me, Giroud, like him as a centre forward, always seems to make a difference. When he was at Arsenal, he made a difference, came off the bench. Chelsea, he comes off the bench and he scores goals. I think he's a dangerous centre forward, and I think it's going to be more difficult now for these two Australian defenders to look after a player of Giroud's class, especially in the air as well. He's an absolute nightmare to mark.
Now, apart from corners, I don't think France played a single high ball into the penalty area in this game so far. Does Giroud introduction mean they're going to start doing that, you think?
I think it's just another option for them. They'll still try and play their beautiful game, but when it needs to go in the box, they can get some decent crosses in the box, and they know they'll have a presence in there as well, just to make it uncomfortable.
N'Golo Kante snuffing out a bit of danger there with another very important interception, just as Australia might have had a counter-attack. Here is Pogba, being held up by Tom Rogic, quite literally held up. The referee blows his whistle, and that will be a free kick to the French as Australia prepare to make a change. Celtic's Tom Rogic is about to go off, and Jackson Irvine of Hull City will come on to play in the World Cup here, his 20th cap. 1-1 between France and Australia with 20 minutes to play. Rogic walks off slowly. Every second counts now for Australia.
Yeah, let's keep them seconds in the back. If we can stick like this at 1-1, I think it'd be an amazing result. The French do not want this to stay as it is. The Australians would love it, but the Australians in the back of their mind think to themselves, if this stays at 1-1 for as close to the end of the game as possible, we still have got a chance of nicking all the points. But just concentrate, lads. They've got a lot of quality, the French, and if you allow them to play, they'll possibly nick another goal.
We've still got a quarter of this match to go. Rogic gets a high five from his coach, and Barvik. Pogba plays the ball forward, looking for Olivier Giroud, looking for his first touch, just skims away from him and goes out for a goal kick. But immediately the indication, it's going to be a corner. I meant to say goal kick there. It's going to be a corner.
Yeah.
And I think the assistant has changed the referee's mind, or certainly there was a hesitation about it.
Yeah, it did look like it had come off Giroud, but great defending. Just took it off Giroud's chest.
So here we go. Corner swung in. Comes for the fullback Pavard, who tried to give it the sensational volley. And it's a defender's shot, and it careers way too high, and all the wolf whistles from the Aussie fans. It was a glorious leap. It was high-kicking kung fu, but the shot was ugly.
Oh, it was pretty. It was pretty. It was more of a conversion than a strike-on goal, I've got to say. To his defence, let me come to his defence now, let me tell you. The way he tried to strike the ball is the correct way to try and get a bit of dip and a bit of pace on it, but he didn't quite execute him. Here we go, Colin.
Here's the ball into the penalty area. Fekir controlling it for France, who are playing from left to right as we look down. Tolisso back to Fekir, who's looking to make an impact since coming on. He's a tricky player, but he's run into trouble here. And Aaron Mooy will pick up possession for Australia. Chance of a counter-attack. Rolls it in front of Cruz, who didn't have the pace there. He looked leggy. And Pavard, who had just blazed that shot over down the other end, makes the tackle and puts it out for an Australia throw.
I thought Mooy there just could have held on to the ball just for another second, just to give Cruz that little bit more time to get into a position where he wanted the ball to be. Just not quite right, the two of them there. And you're right, he looked a little bit leggy, Cruz. He's been doing that all game, all the way through till now, up and down the left-hand side, trying to create chances.
Latest in the rugby, Ireland lead 23-14 now against Australia's rugby team. We're watching the football team here, the cricket side are in action in Cardiff. You can imagine a few Aussie sports supporters with 3 screens, phones, tablets, whatever they have, trying to keep track of everything that's happening today. We've got 17 minutes to play in Kazan. They've been 1-0 down in this game, Australia. Well, they have bounced back, and it's 1-1 at the moment. Here is Milligan to the near touchline to pick out the left back, Aziz Behich. Jackson Irvine, the man who came on last season, was played for Burton Albion, where he scored 10 goals. Here he is now playing at the World Cup against one of the tournament favourites, France, as Jedinak gives it out to the far side, cleared away by Josh Rizzo, the man whose tackle gave away the controversial penalty, which was given by VAR. If you weren't tuned our way at the time, it was play on at the time, and then the men in the tracksuits and the jerseys wearing their shorts in the studio in Moscow decided to call the referee over to have another look, and after much deliberation they gave the penalty, which was scored by Griezmann. But Jedinak scored a penalty of its own, and 1-1 it is, as here comes Fekir. He's got a bit of room on the left-hand side. Giroud wants it played in early. Terrible ball from Fekir. Mbappe hadn't made a run. Fekir played it in front of him. It's easy pickings for Matt Ryan.
Yeah, there was a long ball. Mbappe started to go forward. He started to make the run into where the ball went, and then he held his run back. Should have just stayed a little bit calm and waited for another option to apply.
Australia play it out from the back. Mark Milligan onto Behich, plays in Turkey with Bursaspor. Back into Milligan once again, and France now know they have to press. They need the ball. They are running out of time to go and get a winner here. Sainsbury onto the right back Risdon, who's given it away in the midfield. Here is Paul Pogba, who we've not seen much to sparkle the World Cup yet from Pogba. And as he tries to play it forward, it's interception. The ball goes out for a throw into France on the far side.
Yeah, he's had a lot of the ball. Pogba hasn't really set the world alight as yet. Some nice little touches, some nice little 1-2s. But I believe, I'm looking at Hernandez now, left back for France. Looks tired, looks a little bit leggy. And I'm thinking to myself, if you can get that combination of Leckie and Risdon just starting to hit it off down the left-hand side, they might start to get a little bit of an overlap.
Tolisso's got to be booked here. Yes, he is. Australia were away on a counter-attack. Jackson Irvine and Tolisso, as soon as he made the tackle, he raised his arms in the air. He said, yeah, I know. I took him down. I've taken one for the team. A yellow card.
Yeah, he had to get a yellow there. Pretty obvious, that one. You're not going anywhere. Come here, I'm never going to reach you, so I'll tell you what I'll do, I'll just trip you up.
Blatant, absolutely blatant tripping. Tommy Juric, free kick, it was well away from the penalty area. He knew it wouldn't be a red. He could take the yellow. Free kick to Australia, quarter of an hour remaining in the sunshine in Kazan. Aaron Mooy, whose deliveries have been good so far. Hope that's not the curse of the commentators. He stands over this free kick. Now, can he drill this in and find a teammate? Hugo Lloris standing in his 6-yard box. The other French defenders are all a couple of steps outside the penalty area, and they've played it short, and Rizzo with a chance to cross, and an excellent recovery by Luca Hernandez, and he blocks it out for a throw. That was a good clever free kick.
Yeah, I don't know how the French couldn't see that. It was so obvious that he was going to just drop it into his fullback's path for a nice easy cross from a better position that Moy had the free kick in. Very, very sloppy defending from the French.
Jackson Irvine controls down by the corner flag, but he'd very little pitch to manoeuvre with there, and he's challenged and the ball goes out for a French throw, and they take it short, and Pogba's going to lose it here, and Pogba struggles to get it back, and Moy picks his pocket a second time, and the Aussie fans enjoy that. It's played in towards Tommy Juric on the edge of the penalty. Moy gets involved again, and it's Tolisso this time who tackles him and clears it high and long, and up to Giroud, who crumples down in a heap and shrugs and roars at the referee, who's certainly not convinced, and the ball is eventually hammered away by Australia, and it goes out of play on the far side, and Blaise Matuidi is about to be the third substitution to come on for the French, and he takes the place of Tolisso, who had just been booked.
Yeah, he normally comes on Giroud and normally gets the better of the two centre-halves, which is what I alluded to earlier, but he is going to be playing against two centre-halves, Milligan and Sainsbury, who have really done well and really concentrated all the way through this game. They're battlers, they're competitors, and Giroud there's trying to bring the ball down. It was a proper scrap. He came off second best on this occasion, but they've got to stay together as a pair. Don't leave any gaps, don't get tired.
Blaise Matuidi's a good player, 9 international goals in the past. Plays with Juventus, scored in the last World Cup against Switzerland. Can he give France the little thrust that they're needing here? The only goal they've scored in the game, a controversial VAR penalty scored by Antoine Griezmann as Varane jumps on the halfway line, heads it down for Pavard, manages to hook it forward but out of play. Cheers from the Aussie supporters as they're given the throw.
I think a quick switch of play now. The Australians have now got to go from this left-hand side, they've got to throw in here right in front of the dugouts. If they can get it down and get it over to the right wing, like I've said before, I do believe that the fullback Hernandez is looking incredibly tired and leggy. If you can get an overlap there, get a cross into the box, could be a way of sneaking a second goal.
Don't forget, it's a very busy day of live sport on 5 Live and 5 Live Sports Extra. Here in Kazan, France 1, Australia 1. On Sports Extra right now, you can listen to the one-day international England against Australia from Cardiff. Coming up at 2 o'clock, Argentina against Iceland. We've got rugby union commentary, South Africa against England just after 4. We'll have the second half of Peru-Denmark off the back of that. And then this evening, 8 p.m, Croatia against Nigeria. And we'll be bringing that to you live here on 5 Live Sport. Just over 10 minutes of normal time to go, and France are still being held at 1-1 by an Australian team who you sense are enjoying this game more than the French. The French look frustrated. The Aussies look like, well, this could be a scoreline that will be seen as very much a bonus. As a little 1-2 is played between Mbappe and Giroud, and Mbappe tries to flick it back in again, and Jedinak does well. Good covering, edge of the penalty area, swivels and clears it away.
Yeah, that's what the Australian wants. The Australians want them to try and go through the middle where all the yellow shirts are.
Mbappe onto Giroud, he's beginning to find his range. Pogba tries to get in here. Pogba looks over the top, and it hit the crossbar and came down, and I think that's over the line. Pogba with arms raised, celebrates. It is a goal. It hit the crossbar from Pogba. It bounced on the line. It came back up again. It was like that famous England goal in the 1966 World Cup final. But this one stands. Pogba has got his goal of the World Cup. France have got themselves in front once again. France 2, Australia 1.
We are now looking at the replay. Oh, you know what's happened? The ball's gone into Olivier Giroud. Giroud has tried to pass it back to Pogba. Pogba's just got into the Australian box. He pokes it forward as if to say, I'm going to poke it past you and get round you and put it in. But he actually, it is a goal, I'm just seeing it bounces over the line. It actually comes off the Australian defender and loops over the goalkeeper's head, very much like Paul Parker back in the day.
Yes, absolutely. Behic, the last touch came off him. Pogba, of course, will claim it, but that was an important, crucial deflection. Wrong foot of the goal. They're still unlucky, Australia, the way it hits the crossbar, comes down over the line, bounces back out again, but the goal stands. 2-1 France, 9 minutes to go.
Yeah, I did say it's going to be either a really good bit of skill or a bit of luck, and they've got a bit of luck here, the French.
And here on the halfway line for Australia, Matthew Leckie tries to come forward, edges it on. I mean, the shot from Pogba was going on target anyway, so whenever that happens and there's a deflection, it'll always be given to the guy who struck the ball, but he is very grateful of that deflection from Aziz Behich. Pogba's goal to add to Griezmann's opener. They've got about it the hard way, France, but they are heading towards an opening win unless Australia have got a little whip in the tail now of this game.
You know, this is where the Australians are thinking to themselves, right, there's two ways we can go here. You can lick your wounds and think, oh dear, this is always going to happen. Or you can say, hold on a minute, we have come back from one down, let's do it again. Let's stick together. Let's have a huddle. Let's make sure that we give this French team a really hard last 10 minutes. Make it hard for them.
That's the voice of Dion Dublin watching this game with us here live in Kazan. Here they come again, the French. Cross from the left-hand side. The defender, Behich, this time gets a header straight up into the air. That invites the goalkeeper, Ryan, to come out and grab it high. And if you weren't with us in the first half, France scored with a penalty. 4 minutes later, Australia came back and equalised. Here come France, Matuidi. Onto Mbappe, great feed on the edge of the penalty area. Then maybe one twisted turn too many. Behich gets it back here and he should be able to clear, but Giroud is strong and muscular and he wins it back again. For France will go for an update to Cardiff and the latest of the cricket with Jonathan Overend.
Well, we've just come off for rain. 149 for 2 England. We're in the 24th over. Jason Roy is going great guns. Brilliant 6 over long on a few moments ago. He's 66 not out. With him Joe Root, the test captain, 15. Bairstow out for 42. Hales for 26. We've been playing in light drizzle for an hour and a half here in Cardiff, where the rain has just got that little bit steadier. So an interruption to play. England 149 for 2 in the 24th.
Thank you, Jonathan. Australia about to make their third and final change. Daniel Azzani, who's their sort of wonder kid, their bright new hope. And that means Tim Cahill won't be coming on. This will be the third and final swap, but it hasn't been made yet. Fekir prepares to take the French corner. Delivered in left-footed. Pogba nods it onto the front post. Ryan, the goalkeeper, punches. It fell for Luca Hernandez in his less favoured right boot, and he scoops it too high into the crowd.
Yeah, that was a definite tired effort by Fernandez. I said his legs have gone. He looks tired now. There's 7 minutes, 6.5 minutes plus whatever the referee adds on. Mbappe now is getting a little bit more freedom. He's now showing some of the flair and the skill that relates to his nickname for the French. His nickname for the French is Donatello, like the Ninja Turtle that we know.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. All the references from Dion Dublin here at Russia 2018. So why is Mbappe getting that space out? Is it that Australia are pushing forward because they're behind? Are they getting tired? Why is he enjoying it more now?
He's just getting a little bit leggy. The Australians are getting tired now. They're just out of shape slightly. They're just starting to make silly mistakes. They're not talking as much as they were. They're not as concentrated. And it's 84 and a half minutes gone. You are going to be tired. You haven't had a lot of the ball and you've had to work really hard to get it back. So yeah, that's why there's now pockets of space.
Daniel Arzani, by the way, is on the ball at the moment. He's just come on for Australia. He is the youngest player at this World Cup. There's no sort of 17, 18-year-olds this year. He's 19, but nobody's younger than him. They hope for big things for him. He only made his first league start in the A-League, the Australian League, 5 months ago. So he is raw. But Bert van Marwijk, the Australian coach, has seen enough potential in him to put him in the squad, and now when they need something big in the last 5 minutes, he's been brought on to play on the left wing.
Yeah, just let him have a little bit of a free rein, put him in an area where he can hurt the French, see what happens, give him the ball as much as possible. No point in bringing him on and not using him. Give him the ball, give the young man a chance.
Good run, Luca Hernandez down the left-hand side for France, but he's outnumbered by Australian defenders. There's a touch in there for Jackson Irvine, and then they pump it forward, but straight to Varane. And France, you would think, would have the wherewithal and the know-how now to see this game out and not do anything silly with 4.5 minutes to be added on. I mean, I think there'll be considerable stoppages, particularly with the VAR delay in that. I think we're looking 4 minutes at least, thereabouts. So there's a long time. There's still the bones of 10 minutes here by the time the fat lady sings. So France have got to be careful and see this out, and obviously another goal would be the end of it. Here is Olivier Giroud, controls with his back to goal. Trent Sainsbury, the defender behind him. Giroud lays it off, tries to lunge onto it again. Sainsbury's recovered well, and then Giroud pushes him on the edge of the Australian penalty area, and a free kick out for the Aussies.
Yeah, the French now playing most of the football in their final third. The Australian box, just looking at Kante there and Pogba, just pointing him and telling everybody where to go, just to make sure they see this out.
Here come the French down the right-hand side with Fekir, and there's going to be a yellow card shown to Behich for holding on to Nabil Fekir, the Lyon captain. And a free kick to France on the edge of the penalty area. Deschamps will love this. His team keeping Australia pinned back as the clock ticks on. 4.5 minutes of normal time to go.
I can't see the centre halves. I think one centre half's gone forward. I think Varane's gone forward. I think for the French. Umtiti's just making his way into the box. He's having a chat with Kante as if to say, shall I go or shall I not? There he goes. Kante's just saying, sit there for me. Let's just keep it nice and tight.
Fekir stands over the free kick just outside the penalty area. One step outside the penalty area, right on the corner angle of it. Right hand side as France come forward. Giroud with his heavily strapped forehead waits for it in the middle. Just looking at the angle, I wouldn't even be surprised if Fekir had a snap at this. I mean, why not drill it in? Could hit off anyone and cause trouble for Matt Ryan, the Australian goalkeeper. Clock ticks on. We've got less than 3 minutes of normal time to go here. They've taken a long time over this free kick, France. Fekir, the substitute, it's not him who's delaying it. The referee has been so pedantic with these free kicks. He waits and waits and waits. Now he blows the whistle. Now Fekir does drill it. It was a shot towards goal. The two-man wall does its job, and it's cleared away by Australia.
Yeah, that's what it's there for. The two-man wall, it might not look like it's doing much, but it just stops the person that's taking the kick thinking, hold it a minute, I might be able to sneak in that near post. It just makes them do something they don't want to do. Put it into an area where the defending team should be strong.
Here is Fekir, down by the byline, right hand side as France come forward. Support from Paul Pogba. They're just trying to hold it up in a neutral area here, but good work by Jedinak. He actually Pogba was defending the ball against the touchline with his legs spread. Jedinak put his foot in between Pogba's legs and dragged the ball. That was a lovely little movement there, but Australia don't hold on to the ball for long.
Yeah, listen, he's a big, strong lad, Pogba, but you can't hold off 3 Australians, especially if one of them is Jedinak. Just gets it, picks his pocket, tries to get Australian on the attack, but they're not. They're still in their own final third, trying to get out.
2 minutes of normal time to go. Matt Ryan clears from deep. Big press by Giroud to put pressure on him. High risk chest down by Risdon, and I said high risk because he loses the ball. Mbappe encourages Matuidi forward here. Chance across on the left hand side. Moy deflects it, but deflects it into the arms of the goalkeeper, who immediately bowls it out underarm. And Australia need to get it down the other end. Risdon pumps it forward. The defender is Lucas Hernandez. His header falls for Jackson Irvine, the Hull City player. N'Golo Kante, now that is what he is all about. Nips in, wins the ball, comes away with a little shuffle around Moy, plays it forward to Mbappe. Oh, the goalkeeper's stranded here. Mbappe has it. Ryan is out of his goal. This is so dangerous. The cross comes in. Fekir, open goal. Pogba can't shoot, and Australia get it back again. High drama late on. Now the counter-attack. Ball pumped in front of Leckie. We heard from Dion Stats earlier on how fast he is, but he can't get there ahead of Lloris. And France clear it away. It's a high-octane finish to the game in Kazan.
Yeah, they had a great chance just to pull the trigger. The French, the Australian goalkeepers, harrying Mbappe, trying to make him make a decision, but he doesn't. Pogba just wanted just that second too much on the edge of the box.
That's exactly what I thought. He didn't just put laces through it. He wanted more time, and he didn't have that time. It's still France 2, Australia 1. We have seconds remaining of normal time. The fourth official will very shortly raise his board and tell us what's to be added on as Trent Sainsbury goes on a careering run from centre half. They get into the penalty area. Lucas Hernandez, who's having a good game at left back, briefly intercepts, but it falls to Moy, and it's crossed in, and a header up and away. Good strong header there by Varane. France haven't fully cleared their lines, but they will do now. Off Hernandez, who hits the deck. Referee says that's a foul. Free kick to France, and I bet you they'll take 2 minutes overtaking this.
Yeah, it's just a little bit messy from the French there, trying to get out, looking panicked, not as cool as you would expect. Hernandez getting the free kick in the end. He actually heads the ball away, and then he gets clattered by an Australian there on the right hand side. He's just inside his box. They had a couple of good chances there, the Australians. Put the ball into a danger area, get some players in the box. We've only got seconds left to try and get another point.
It's a day and it's a weekend in which a lot of the big teams are getting involved. France here. Later on we'll see Argentina for the first time. Tomorrow Germany, Brazil. And we're all waiting to see, who's laying down the early markers. What would you make of France's performance, Dion? How would you sum it up for people who are maybe just tuning us on this early Saturday kickoff?
I think if I was pointing out the strengths and weaknesses, I think the French have got so much quality. Their movement in the first hour was excellent. All the big names getting on the ball, all of them looking incredibly comfortable, wanting to play possession football. Final third hasn't been great by them. That's possibly why Giroud's come on, try and get themselves a plan B, maybe go to the air a little bit more. The French look okay. I've not been blown away. They look okay.
So 5 minutes are being added on for stoppages. 5 minutes for Australia to try and nick an equaliser here, but they've not had a shot on target for a long time. Varane forward to Fekir, the substitute Lyon player who's playing on the right wing. Varane has advanced forward here. Jedinak will win it back for Australia. Plays it rather powerfully back to Ryan, who's under pressure from Mbappe here. He's got to come out of his penalty area, and he just about gets it away. Well done, Matt Ryan.
He does really well. Look, Jedinak had to put a bit of pace on it. He couldn't go anywhere else. He actually pinged it to his keeper. If the keeper missed it, it would have gone in. So his concentration levels were very high. Matt Ryan does well. Right foot to left foot, clears it.
Sun blazing down. Temperatures getting warmer and warmer here in Kazan. We're mid-afternoon, 2-hour time difference, coming up to 3 o'clock local in this part of Russia. And it's going to be a big day to come. We've had France against Australia here, 2-1 in stoppage time at the end of the match. I'm looking forward to watching Argentina and Iceland coming up shortly. And then more football later on today. Peru against Denmark. They're the other two teams in this group. And then Croatia against Nigeria and their dazzling kit. We're going to get to see that in action for the first time later on this season. I love the World Cup.
Listen,
love it.
Hey, come on, you can't knock it. That shirt, nice pair of jeans, nice pair of jeans and a pair of trainers. They look nice.
Well, I'll tell you what. If the entire Nigerian squad has brought as many trainers to the World Cup as Dion Dublin, I will be shocked. Every day he's come down in a new pair of sneakers as the ball is cleared away by N'Golo Kante on the far side. He likes his wheels, does Dion Dublin.
We're here for a long time. We've got to change the pressure points on the feet.
It's like Imelda Marcos, the amount of shoes that Dion Dublin has brought with him to Russia. Here come Australia. Is there to be a late twist? Risdon sounds a little dummy in the far. Oh, he's into the penalty area. Left-footed dink, headed down by Umtiti. Only as far as Moy. Lobs it back in. Why didn't Juric challenge for that a little bit more? He allows Pavard to clear it away, and it's out for a throw-in. And Australia remain on the attack. 2-1 France.
Yeah, we've got a long throw coming. We've got a long throw coming now. Yeah, he's going to towards Jedinak.
Behic leans back against the advertising board. He wants to get as long a run up as possible here. He's bending his back like he's doing a limbo dance from the advertising board. Now he runs forward. Now he thrusts it in. Flick on by Jedinak. Comes down again. Walloped away by Varane. Doesn't fully clear though. There's a chance for a shot. The referee gave a little glance there to see if there was a foul on the edge of the penalty area, but says no. And Lucas Hernandez will be able to clear away from left back, and he's actually challenged by Risdon, but the ball goes out for a throw into France, who you've got to say are not seeing this out as comfortably as Didier Deschamps would probably want them to. They are looking like they cannot wait for this final whistle to blow.
Yeah, the French looking a little bit wobbly now. They're thinking to themselves, right, we're a little bit tired, we've got the points in the bag, let's hold on, rather than let's go for another one. The Australians are working so hard though. They do deserve something from this game, I've got to say. Not through quality.
This was always going to be the most difficult game for Australia. They'd have said anything we get for this is a bonus. Next up they've got Denmark and Samara. Their final group game is against Peru. They've shown enough fight here, they've shown enough resilience, that an organisation that, you know, they can still do well in those last two games and still can progress into the knockout stages. It's going to be a good group, this one, Group C. There's a foul on Pogba on the halfway line, and he is down, and he's going to use up as much time as he can. Lecky's also down on the deck, and this will just eat into the clock. We have now played the 5 minutes which were being allotted on at the end of this game. France 2, Australia 1. If you tuned in the latter stages of this game, Griezmann scored first. At VAR penalty to put France 1-0 up. Jedinak got a penalty of his own just 4 minutes later. And then it was Pogba's shot that deflected off Behic, but it'll go down as a Pogba goal, that hit the crossbar, came down over the line, bounced back up again, and that's the winner, because it's all over. The final whistle blows, and France have made not the most convincing, but all the same a winning start to France 2018. Dion Dublin.
Yeah, points in the bag. Job done for the French. They made hard work of it. It was made hard work because the Australians were organised. They concentrated very, very hard. They did exactly what their manager wanted to do, apart from get that point, which I think they were looking for. That little bit of sprinkling of quality from the French just nipped them at the line.
Well, we've certainly got ourselves a talking point with that VAR penalty. I've just been sort of perusing some of the social media. Some people convinced it's the most non-controversial penalty, but it's a blatant penalty, and other people thinking that a complete travesty has occurred here. Plenty of talking points, but the win is for France. They have beaten Australia Australia by 2-1.
And Conor, you're absolutely right. All the talk on social media is about the technology. Roshi says the technology certainly saved the French team out there. Ruben says 4 years ago this match could easily have been 0-0, but with the help of goal line technology and VAR, rightfully, he said, we have it at 2-1. Dion, let's get your thoughts. First of all then, was it a foul on Griezmann for the opening goal for the France penalty?
You know what, I've looked at it a few times now. I did say at normal speed I thought he got a touch of the ball. I'm still half convinced that he did, not as convinced as I was having watched the replays. You know what, I think the contacts come from Griezmann. It's come from Griezmann, it hasn't come from the defender. I believe that the defender got kicked by Griezmann. Griezmann goes down. It's very, very minimal. Whether that's enough or not, Kelly, I'm not too sure. It's really difficult to say.
But isn't that then the wrong application of VAR? Rather than the individuals getting the decision wrong, if it's a marginal decision, it's the wrong application. It's supposed to be clear and obvious.
No. The four criteria. VAR can be used in 4 scenarios. Goals, penalty decisions. Now, and that's where they come in, and offences leading up to a penalty as well. That's the very important thing. In those situations, the VAR is only used after the referee's made a decision. So at that time, he said, I'm allowing play to continue. Now, regardless of question, a penalty decision, the VAR will always have a little glance at it. And on that occasion, they've decided it was. They didn't say it definitely is a penalty. They said it's worth looking at again, and they got the referee to come to the touchline. But that I believe that is how it's supposed to be done, Kelly.
And so that's the referee's then gone to look at it on the monitor, and he's decided it is clearly and obviously a penalty. It's absolutely fixed then in his mind. He's given France the penalty. Griezmann scores. He puts France 1-0 up. And then there's a penalty at the other end, a Samuel Umtiti handball. Definite handball for you, Dion?
Yeah, definite handball. I don't know what he was thinking. The ball comes in from the right-hand side for the Australians, and it's sort of curling away from his goal. He's the first defender. What that means, Kelly, he's got another 2 or 3 defenders behind him and the goalkeeper that could deal with the cross that's coming into the box. He actually puts his arm way above his head. It deviates away from everybody else. It's clear to see. I don't know what he was thinking. It's a definite penalty.
So Mile Jedinak scored that one. That made it France 1, Australia 1 after 62 minutes. And then with 10 minutes left to go, Paul Pogba, so much is said about Paul Pogba, but he got the winning goal in France's opening match of this tournament. Not